digital nomad life is all about Bali and Barcelona? Think again. Panama is quickly becoming a hotspot for remote workers who want fast Wi-Fi, affordable luxury, warm beaches, and a time zone that actually syncs with North America. Today on the Panama Podcast, we are joined by Louise Henry, a successful Canadian entrepreneur who traded Toronto's snowy winters for tropical sunshine and beachfront living in the Coronado beaches of Panama. She brought her thriving digital horse business with her, and she's not stopping there. Louise is now launching Tim's Club, a nonprofit cafe and learning center that supports individuals with intellectual disabilities. This episode is all about designing a life you don't need a vacation from, whether you're working from your laptop or building a legacy with purpose. Welcome to the Panama Podcast, from dreaming to doing. I'm your host, Melissa Darnay. If you want insider tips on living, investing, and having a blast in Panama, go to choosepanama.com and snag your free copy of Panama Uncorked. Welcome to another installment of the Real Expats of Panama, a segment of the Panama Podcast where we bring you the real scoop on what life in Panama is actually like. We're here to give you the unfiltered truth, because when it comes to living in Panama, what you don't know could cost you. Joining me are my pithy and powerful co-hosts, Stacey Jenks, a vacation property management expert, and Amanda Gleeson, a turnkey decorator. Our special guest today is Louise Henry, who has been living in the Coronado Beaches area since 2020. Before we get started, welcome to the show. Cheers! Louise, what inspired you to leave the frozen tundra of North America and come to Panama?
Well, I mean, you hit it. Probably one of the main
frozen
things.
tundra.
Yeah. It was something I always knew. I always knew I wanted to live in a tropical location. And then it was just about finding the perfect place where we could settle and make our long-term home. So yeah, it was definitely a big part, the weather.
So what made you choose Coronado?
So many reasons. I loved the laid-back, relaxed beach town vibe. I love the fact that we would spend so much time outside. So now, I'm spending way more time outside than I ever have in my life, which is wonderful. And we were able to purchase a house right on the beach, and just the cost of living was
that 3.5 million?
Yes, totally.
And that's something I think so many people dream of, living on the beach. And in so many parts of the world, you just can't afford it. And that was where I was. That was one of the things that drew me to Panama. Was I'd gone to college in Santa Barbara, and I loved living on the beach, but I couldn't afford Santa Barbara. I'm not Oprah Winfrey.
My dad was fairly convinced I was money laundering or doing something illegal when I said, I've put a deposit on a beachfront apartment. He's like, okay, all right. What are you doing over there?
And it's such an amazing feeling to be able to think that you can have the lifestyle of living right on the beach.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Once we realized that, whether people want to live in one of the beautiful condos that are available, like yours,
That start at $200,000.
Yeah, yes. That's incredible.
Crazy.
What was the biggest adjustment you had?
There wasn't anything major, honestly,
Okay.
because I've been living away from Canada already now in total for like 10 years. So there wasn't anything major. Like here, I actually find it has a lot of the comforts of home. So I didn't find it overall like a huge adjustment or anything like that. So yeah, we kind of just fell into it and was like, you know what, this is good.
Now you had to change your wardrobe, right?
Yes. Thankfully. I was so excited to just be able to, wear shorts and a t-shirt every single day. And that was that.
So now that you are firmly settled down here, like how has your day-to-day changed from what it would have been before, now that you're living the dream lifestyle on the beach?
Yeah, it has changed so much. The amount of time that I spend outside has been the biggest change. Like just waking up every single morning, having a coffee overlooking the ocean, walking on the beach multiple times a day, like that is drastically different.
Sounds rough.
Yeah, right? Yeah, so it's just so different from where I would be in winter 6 months of the year. And for some people, they thrive in that environment and that's amazing for them. I didn't do any winter sports. Like I was really just a terrible winter person. So I was just always inside under blankets and waiting for the summer. So it's really cool to have just year round beautiful weather and be able to have that day-to-day lifestyle.
And it's funny because if I had just met you on the street, I would have assumed that you grew up in California because I did. And I don't have the California look and you do.
Thank you. That's like the best compliment I've gotten.
But that outdoor, healthy, glowy look, that's when you're outside and you get the sunshine, that it just is part of your life. What's the one thing you miss from Canada?
I mean, of course, it's going to be people. It's going to be
Right.
loved ones. Fortunately, I've convinced a lot of them to come down for visits.
Of course.
So, and that was part of the reason why we loved Panama, where it wasn't far from home. So
Right.
it's just, one direct flight. So I miss that. I miss some of the conveniences. Like, I really miss like some of the technological advances and stuff. But I would say Panama is getting better. So for example, same day deliveries.
Yes.
These are silly little things, but Panama is, slowly but surely getting better.
We just recently got it where we can order from Amazon and get it directly delivered to my apartment door.
It's like Christmas
It
all
is.
over.
It's really pretty fast because before that we had to get a mailbox,
Thank you, Amanda.
etc. account, and then it would come to mailbox, etc. And then we would have to go pick it up. And now we don't have to. I still keep my mailboxes, etc. account because that's my now, mailing address. But it's so nice to have things just brought directly to you.
But doesn't it feel decadent now
my
to
gosh.
get boxes to
I
the
mean,
door?
it
Like,
was
this is amazing.
When the concierge calls and says, Senora Darnay, you have 3 packages from Amazon, it's always like, yay!
And then if you're not down there in 15 minutes, they just bring it to you. It's so nice.
I know.
I mean, it is literally front door service.
Yes, for me, that has been like the best thing that's happened so far this year.
It's exciting.
Let's switch tracks for a minute. You have an online business at louisehenry.com. What exactly do you do?
Yeah, so I help people simplify and streamline their online businesses. So I help people create online businesses specifically around their expertise and their skills. So through the form of coaching or online courses. And so then I'm helping them with their marketing and their systems so that they can grow that as big as they want it to be.
Well, now how has living in Panama affected your ability to, have a business online?
Yeah. So one of the reasons we chose Panama was because it had great internet. So I was like, okay, I know I'm going to be able to run a completely remote business from here. However, when we did first arrive and move into our house, we had some rough internet troubles. Fortunately, those have been totally fixed. And I really need good internet where I'm doing live video, live presentation. So it was like, this is going to be key. But yeah, Mass Mobile,
Yes.
they're amazing. And yeah, it solved all of my internet problems.
What is your internet speed in the beaches area right now?
I don't know, but super fast.
It works.
Fast enough for all forms of live streaming and live
Okay,
video.
that's fair.
Yeah.
So when I moved to Panama City in 2012, it was 30 megs up at, 30 megs down. I don't know what it was up. It was slow. And sometimes there was a lot of buffering with Netflix. And then over the next year or two, it happened pretty quickly where we went from 30 to 100 to 250. And we stayed about 250 download speed for quite a while. And then this year we got fiber optic, and I want the sound of the heavens to open up because that was life changing for us because having whole gigabyte up and down, and especially like you, I'm doing a lot of videos, so being able to upload the videos at the speed of light was life changing for us.
Exactly. So that's what we have at the beach. That's what it is. Fiber optic. And yeah, it's been.
Well,
it's been
that's interesting
life-changing.
because I wasn't sure if that was in the beaches area yet. So it
Yeah.
is. That's
Yeah,
great.
through-
Great
yeah,
news
through
for those of you
Mexico.
who want to
Yeah.
live on the beach and also have super fast internet.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes, totally. There is one thing I have to mention though is power outages occasionally. So there have been, 1 or 2 times where I've been like running to the car and getting in my car and going to Chirera to go to a co-working space to do a live training. But, you know, not every remote business is going to be doing live trainings. And even for me, that's, you know, only every few months that it would be really important. So for the most part, it's great. But yeah, power outages, like I think the next thing we should invest in is a backup generator, which we don't have yet.
Well, you were living in condos, and so the condos had those, but now you're in a house.
Exactly.
And so when you have your house, it's up to you whether or not you want the backup generator.
Yeah.
So here where we live, we have a backup generator. So if it blips out, it'll go out for a few seconds. And I have something on my computer that gives me, I don't know what it is, 60 seconds or something, where if in the time the power goes out and comes back on, it keeps giving me that whatever it is, juju stuff. Someone else is going to have to come in and rewrite my words, but it allows me to keep working while the power is out before the generator comes on.
Yeah, so I think that's just like very specific advice for anyone that's considering buying a house in the beaches area. So
Exactly. Or if you're doing a condo, whether it's Panama City or the beaches area, you just want to make sure that there's a backup generator.
So, Louise, I would say that for many people, you are kind of living the dream. You have work and a job that you can do from anywhere. For anyone who's looking like digital nomad or looking to relocate and live that same dream, what would be your best advice for them?
I would say go for it. Like there are so many opportunities now. There are so many people doing it, so many people training on how to do it. Like really any sort of skill that you've built up in your life that can now be transformed in some way to an online business. So I think it's more just there's so many opportunities. Of course, you need to think about, you know, the little details like good internet and things like that. But really, there are so many businesses that run just from a laptop. And that's it.
Was there anything specific to Panama that you had to find a workaround or like a Panama-specific problem that you found difficult, or nothing that you wouldn't find anywhere else in the world?
Yeah, no, because a lot of other places that I've tried to work from, it has been the internet speed. You know, while you might find an amazing beach town that you love, like it's just not quite strong enough for a full, you know, for someone who's running a full-time online business. So yeah, as a home base, it ended up just making sense. Obviously there were a lot of other reasons, but for running a business, like it's been pretty great and yeah, pretty seamless here.
We travel a lot, and it's always so frustrating because that laptop goes with us wherever we go.
Yes.
And it's so frustrating when you get somewhere and your intent is to spend an hour or two a day checking in on things, and the internet is so ridiculously slow
Bang your head on
that
the
it's
aisle.
impossible.
throw
So
it across
you're out of touch, not
So
because you
frustrating.
didn't plan, but because the internet isn't good enough. And I think that's one thing a lot of people are surprised with when they come to Panama is how great the internet and how stable the internet is here.
Yeah. So it's more like it's a perfect base, I would say, a place to live as a.
Buying real estate in Panama isn't like buying back home. What you don't know can cost you. Before you search for properties online that might or might not be as advertised, go to choosepanama.com/contact and schedule a free 30-minute call. Our white glove service takes the stress out of buying abroad.
Is there a big community of like digital nomads, online workers that all connect with each other that you know of, that you're engaged with?
I would say that it's growing. So definitely like the Coronado area was more so for retirees before, but I mean, and you know, you would know more about this, but that there are more young people and more remote workers that are making the big move, which is so exciting. So yes, the community is forming, and even there's some Facebook groups that have been forming for young professionals who are at that phase of life in our area. So that's really cool. There haven't really been like any co-working spaces or cafes really for our area. And so I think that's something that is lacking, but that's what we're building with Tim's Club.
And a lot of, in the city and even in Boquete, they're now building the new projects all have co-working spaces planned into them. And I think that's something, you know, COVID had so many bad things about it, about that time. But I think one of the best things that happened was that we were forced to step up
Absolutely.
our, out of office working. And that's one of the things in Panama, if you look at the demographics of who was here pre-pandemic and who's here now, it is much younger. Look how young this face is. And she's here living a great life with her husband and supporting herself and having a beach life. You don't have to wait until you're retired to do that. Whereas I think before you used to have to do that. Let's talk about Tim's Club. This is such an interesting thing that you did. Why don't you tell us what Tim's Club is and how it came about?
Yeah, for sure. So Tim's Club is a nonprofit community center and cafe in the making that is going to support individuals with intellectual disabilities. We're going to do that by teaching life and employment skills and just in general creating a space for growth, inclusion, and opportunity.
Tell us a story of what brought this about.
So my younger brother, Tim, is the inspiration behind the project, and he has just such a great name. So we're like, okay, we're gonna work it into the name. But yeah, so he's 2 years younger than me, and he has severe autism, meaning he's nonverbal, and he is incredible. He's got the best energy. He's so fun to be around. He laughs and sings all the time. Amanda knows. So he's wonderful, but of course we've experienced a lot of challenges throughout life, and we're always really concerned of what his life would look like as he grew older. And as people do get, to 18 and beyond, there's very little support. And so I knew that was an issue, across the board, across different countries. So yeah, it was like, okay, what could we do? Now, this idea specifically came to me when I was 8 years old, which is really young. I know. I think I just thought like I was seeing what his life looked like and when he was his happiest. And I was like, okay, I think there's something creative here that we would be able to create. And I know that other families could really use more support, could really use a place where we could all come together and be that community that I think everyone needs. So yeah, somehow at 8 came up with the idea. I told my husband on our first date that I was going to do this.
And you're doing it. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm finally doing it. Yeah, so it took a long time. For a long time, it's just been like on the vision board. But then finally, once we settled, found our forever home, then it was like, okay, we're going to be able to, invest our time into a larger project like that.
Now, what will Tim's Club offer to individuals here in Panama with intellectual disabilities?
Yeah, so we're going to have quite a few different opportunities. We're going to be employing people with special needs. So you'll see that there are actually lots of cafes around the world that are doing that. And so they've served as really great inspiration for the project. So even like when we went to London, for example, they had one where they were providing employment opportunities. So that's one way.
So people with Down syndrome, people with autism.
Yeah, exactly. Then we're going to have a day program. So a place where people can come together Monday to Friday, and we're going to have art, music, different classes, learning, technology, exercise, like really just creating a space where people can come together and get that support and get that purpose, So that's going to be the main thing. And then beyond that, we're going to have workshops for families. So even if they don't live specifically in our area, people from Panama City could come in for the weekend, and we'll be hosting special workshops and events and just trying to create some awareness and support for families that need it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Especially we've met so many people with autism because there's a stem cell center in Panama City, and a lot of parents bring their children to the stem cell center. And a lot of them have stayed with us in our rentals, and we've gotten to know them over the years. And many of them come back again and again. And we have seen how desperate the parents are for an olive branch, for something. So I know that this is going to be such a breath of fresh air for so many different people, whether you live in Panama or not.
Yeah. And so our hope is that, it can just be somewhere, anybody vacationing even, they can come, and just a space where everyone can totally be themselves and be comfortable. So for example, we wouldn't always as a family feel that comfortable to just go out to a cafe, that's an environment that's supposed to be quiet, for example.
Right.
And we, come in with a bang. So So it's going to be really cool where, you know, our tagline is everyone belongs here, and you can just come and you can be comfortable and you can, you know, get outside of the house. There's a lot of isolation that can happen. So yeah, so we're going to bring people together and just provide as many opportunities and education as we can.
So how far down the track are we before we can actually go to Tim's Club? Where are you at?
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. So we've been fundraising and we were able to purchase the land for the project in full. So that was exciting.
Cheers to that. We love it when communities come together and really support, especially this is such an amazing idea, and I'm so happy the community has supported you.
Yeah.
Yes, I was going to ask you how the community has responded to this so far, and it sounds
Yeah.
like they're all in.
So supportive. Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly, so supportive. Like, for example, we just hosted an annual fundraiser at our home and we had 127 people come out and join us,
How'd you get them all to leave?
which is incredible. So yeah, that was really incredible. And just, yeah, so much support from the community, from people that are already working in the field of autism. Have been just so excited about what we're creating. So yeah, the property that we purchased is in Gorgona. So for anyone thinking of the beaches area, there's quite a few like little
towns.
Towns, yeah.
Panama
So-
Riviera.
yeah, exactly. And so it's really beautiful. I mean, it's 2,200 meters squared. It backs onto a farm with mountains in the background. And yeah, it's really kind of going with what we've spoken about of just being in nature and how much that can just help you and how grounded that can make you feel. We wanted our environment to reflect that. So we ended up finding the perfect piece of land for that. And so now we're working with an architect. We're finalizing the designs, and our goal is to start building this year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to keep you on a regular basis to keep us posted.
I would love
that. Would be great to have some
Yeah.
photos, some videos.
We'll have to go out and see it.
And
you
we'll
know,
go,
once
we'll
you
go
get-
out and see it once you break ground.
Yeah.
If people want to donate, how can they do that?
They can go to timsclub.org. That would be amazing. Any amount honestly makes a really huge difference at this point. Like,
Yeah.
and we can tell you, you know, we can give you exact updates of where that's going to go. You know, you'll really see the impact of supporting this project. So yeah, timsclub.org. You can see everything. You can connect with me, send me a message. I mean, I've had a lot of families already that are thinking about moving with their loved one with autism or other intellectual disability reach out. So I've been having all sorts of coffees, meeting people. It's been amazing. Yeah.
You know, and this is something, if you give up coffee for a day and then donate your $5, it can make a big difference. Because if enough people do that, you know, then that can help this little patch of paradise come a little bit faster. Let's move again. So we talked about your time as a digital nomad. We're talking about your purpose. But how has your purpose evolved since moving to Panama?
I would say it's been really cool to see how the two things that I do like connect together and support one another. So I always knew that I was going to bring this project to life, but now I'm really passionate about helping people use entrepreneurial thinking, using like their creativity to come up with unique solutions. So I think what's evolving now is people that want to use entrepreneurship and have some component of their business that is for social good. So I'm seeing that like evolving. You know, it's early phases, but that's what's really worked for me. Any of the skills that I built up through my business have directly transferred over to Tim's Club. Like that's the only way, you know, we've been able to have all these fundraisers and campaigns. We've been using, you know, all of those things that I had to learn through business. So yeah, I see myself helping other people around the world who want to do that.
And one of the things that I tell my clients when someone wants to move here and they're retired, one of the first things I always say is you have to decide what purpose you want your life to be in Panama. Because if you come here and you're retired, you'll spend about a month going to the beach every day. And then you're either going to start drinking at 9 a.m., which we have nothing wrong with drinking.
judgment.
No
No
judgment.
that at all.
But, you know, that's not an everyday drinking at 9 a.m. That's probably not the best way to spend your life. Or you can, you know, start getting some negative habits. But if you come here and you put your energy and your soul into something good like this, and if you don't know what to do, you can try different things. You can, you know, call her and offer your help. you want to volunteer. But doing something like that really can make your life here so fulfilling by saying, this is my purpose.
I would like to ask about the unsung hero of your Instagram feed, Charlie. How does Charlie like living on the beach?
Well, you know what? Charlie has a really wonderful life. So,
And Charlie's the dog.
Yes, Charlie is.
We
my
all love our dogs.
Yeah, I think if you should you should add a little video of Charlie at
Okay.
this point. Yeah, no, he's a really cute little Panamanian dog that we got here. We were told he's a mix of a Maltese and a Shih Tzu, but debatable.
Debatable, yeah.
what he actually is. But yeah, no, it's honestly, we just laugh all the time that he's living his best life 100%. So for anyone out there that has a pet that they want to bring along, you absolutely can, and they will have their best time ever running along the beach. He thinks he owns it. I mean, he's like,
Well, he does.
he's tiny, and he has realized that he can, from our backyard, he can run, and if he jumps high enough, he can jump our seawall, and he can go to the beach. And
Oh,
yeah.
It's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, so he's constantly going to the beach.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to create a meaningful change abroad?
I would say get out from behind your laptop, which as an introvert, sometimes I'm resistant to do this. But the best connections, the most progress that we've made so far have been going out to community events, meeting someone for coffee. I mean, even just, going with Amanda on a boat, and, I met somebody there who has a friend whose son is really going to need Tim's Club, for example. And now we have someone else in our fold who's part of Tim's Club. So I think that get on the ground and then start just having the one-to-one conversations. While that can feel how much progress are you going to make by just, connecting with individuals? So much so. So yeah, really just connecting in and then understanding the environment that you're in. So I've been fortunate where a lot of people who are already here, who are already trying to move this type of work forward, have been really open and have been willing to meet me for coffee. And yeah, so I think that's a good way to approach it.
Final thoughts. A few rapid fire questions. What's the one local food in Panama you just can't get enough of?
Ceviche. I had it for lunch right before this.
And what don't you like?
What don't I like food-wise?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mondongo. Are you a fan of mondongo?
I don't even know what that
I don't
is.
know what that
I don't know what that is.
What
It's
is
a
it?
tripe stew.
I don't think I'd like that.
No.
Yeah. So I'm going to add
Tripe's
that.
on the no-go list.
Yeah.
What's your best way to relax in Coronado?
Best way for sure is best way to truly relax is to do a yoga class. We have some really great yoga classes and
On the beach.
I love them. No, that's something that we really should be doing. But
Right.
yeah, it's not. I'd say that is if I take a class and then I go home after that, I'm truly relaxed. But other than that, just having a coffee in the morning on the beach.
Or like you said, taking a walk. Just getting out in the sunshine, getting the muscles moving, clearing the head.
Yeah.
Louise, thanks so much for joining us today. How can people get in touch with you?
Okay, so for all things business, you can go to louisehenry.com. And then for all things Tim's Club, you can go to timsclub.org and you'll see contact information on both of those.
Wonderful. And I hope a lot of people do come and help and donate. And there you have it. Louise Henry is living proof that you don't have to choose between building a successful business and living a life filled with sunshine, freedom, and purpose. She brought her career to her with Panama, embraced the laid-back beach lifestyle, and still found room to give back in a powerful way through Tim's Club. Whether you're a digital nomad in the making, an entrepreneur with a passport, or just someone craving more meaning in your day-to-day life, I hope this episode gave you the nudge you need to dream a little bigger and maybe look south. Until next time, keep chasing the life that lights you up. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a story that might change yours. Until next time, cheers.
Cheers.